Welcome to episode 2 of the Content Machines podcast with Leigh Anne Bentley, who's the CMO for Leaders Credit Union. All right, so since coming to Leaders, what are some of the things that you've learned about marketing?
What I've learned about marketing since coming to Leaders, I know I've talked about getting in the weeds more, but really getting into the data has been great.
Yeah.
And so, because you can really see people for what their needs are, how to help them. I think it's been a lot more smart marketing. And I think in the past, we had a lot of TV campaigns, and I still buy tons of TV. I love TV. But like if you're buying broadcast, you're marketing to the masses. You're doing cable, you can market to much more select, targeted group, whether the golf channel or the fishing channel or comedy. You know who's kind of watching those channels. But when you get into even the digital, which is a little more trackable now, which is great, or when you start getting to your data, you can really pinpoint what their needs are. I love the fact that I don't want to send a checking account campaign to someone who's had a checking account with us for 5 years. And so when you do a TV campaign, you're targeting people everybody in a sense. And so I love how deep you can get into the numbers to make sure you're targeting the right people, that your message is the right. Because I always tell, our team, my job is to make sure it's not just pretty, but it's effective. Do you have your right call to action on there? Do you have the right headline on there? And they do a phenomenal job. I mean, I'm not, that's something that comes natural. But it's being able to really get deeper in the data, into the numbers. I love how you can track things now. Because again, we've even started tracking some TV. We put some QR codes on some television. And so we'll say, hey, that came from, we actually had an ad in the Super Bowl. And so we had several come back through our, ITM tracking that says, hey, this person watched it in Memphis. This person watched it in Jackson. And so it was fun to see where those kind of came from. Now, broadcast is still a little different. It's hard. Sure. It's harder to track that still. And I want that magic wand.
Yeah.
This is how many came through this. Now, we do ask those questions. Like when you join Leaders, our questions at the end. How'd you hear about us?
Do you think those are accurate statistics?
I think some of it information is. So they'll say, it shows where they saw it. I think in some aspects.
When they self-report.
And so
you feel good about those?
I like seeing them. The ones that I like to see are the ones that we pull in from like our Google Tag Manager.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I love seeing our dashboards where we know this media brought in X number, and actually seeing the funnel. We are looking at, here's how many people actually may have clicked on our application, and this number actually completed it. But what happened in the middle?
Yeah.
And so why are they falling off? Where's the hard spot what do we need to fix? Is there something that's keeping them? So getting in those nuances and those little details is the fun thing that I wasn't able to do on the agency side.
Well, and probably something that's changed since.
Oh, it's changed quite a bit.
Yeah. What have been some of your big successes, you think?
Big successes.
That you can talk about here, I guess.
Well, I don't think I can take credit for any just really big success. I think it's been such a team effort. I think we've got a great leadership team that works well together. I think we've got a great marketing team. We do a lot of things that I'm proud of that's a little different than agency world. Like I said, everything was billable hours, and so my mind still thinks that way. But like every Friday morning, we have a marketing huddle, and so we read a book together and try to learn from that, or we have somebody come in from outside and come talk to us about something. And so I think it's being interested to have continuous improvement, not constantly being right at the computer, constantly productive. Because I think we're being more productive by bringing those things in,
by sharpening your axe.
And so, exactly, by sharpening your axe. The first 2 hours sharpening your axe instead of cutting down the tree. Exactly. So I think the successes have been really coming together. We've done a lot of great things. We've had great campaigns. We've launched our new website. We've launched a new CRM. We've brought in we've opened up new branches. Merchandising is something that's fun with us that we do a lot of our places. But I really just think it's coming together as a whole and seeing a single vision. Like our IT department has really enhanced, and we work really well with them. And I think the last couple of years especially, operations, marketing, and IT, including analytics, has just been kind of we meet frequently, making sure that right hand knows what left hand's doing, that we are maximizing our efforts. And it kind of goes back, instead of a one big success, it's those small incremental things that makes a bigger difference in the long run.
that makes a lot of sense, especially in an organization your size, right? Like there's so many things that could go wrong, right? I mean,
Well, I think that's one thing. That's something else I've had to do a lot with. Is there's a lot more crisis management, I guess, in this. When you think about it, when an ATM goes down, or something else happens, or there is some data issue.
Stuff happens.
Things happen all the time.
Yeah.
We have to make sure we're on point, that we're communicating with our members. I think communication is key. That's one thing I love about marketing is the more you communicate. I mean, I think it's just if people know what's going on, it's so much less nerving than being left in the dark.
Yeah, because if you don't have a good reason for something, you're gonna assume the worst.
Our online banking goes down, and we don't have something posted so that they can go and go, oh, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Then they start getting on
The
Facebook,
Russians
and then
got
it's like,
us.
oh, something's happened. So also, my team is really good. If it snows on a day, and we're responsible to get up that morning, we work with operations on what's going on, and then we're putting out this communications, putting out our social media posts, our email, what's going on in online banking, our in-app messages.
Yeah.
So, and there's more ways to communicate now than
So
ever.
many more ways.
So I think that's something
Yeah.
that's changed a lot. There's so many ways to communicate. Sometimes there's too many, because sometimes I'm like, I know someone sent me something, but is it on my email, or is it in my team, or is it in my Slack, or Facebook Messenger, or did they text me?
Oh yeah. So we actually, for our team, we have a standard of communication about what you use to communicate about what, because I was tired of getting text messages, and I was like, no, only send me a text message if something is on fire, or I'm not at my desk, right? Like, because there's so many channels, and it just keeps growing.
So we have 70,000 members right now. So you think, okay, so how am I communicating with them?
Yeah.
And what is their best method?
Yeah.
Like texting right now is one of the best methods, but you also have to make sure you're compliant.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that all goes back. Because one thing at agency world, because I did do bank marketing before, my area that I specialized in was professional services. I basically did banks, insurance, real estate, and then B2B. So I was already used to the compliance side on the banking side, but it's still you still have to dig in even deeper in different things. And can I do this? And we have a great compliance officer that is not no, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Theirs is, you can't do that, but let's find a way that
Which
gets
is
you.
a great quality in a compliance
fantastic.
officer and not super common.
It's not common. Like
Yeah.
I'll go to conferences and they're like, "Oh, don't you hate having to work with compliance?" I'm like, "No, they keep me out of trouble." They're like, "Make sure if you add this on there, if you add this disclosure, then you're good." So I love working with our compliance department.
Well, what about what are some of the challenges that you think you face as in your role?
Challenges, well, things are changing drastically. You have to constantly stay up. What is the latest thing? Like obviously TikTok is one of the biggest things, but for security, we're not on
you can't
TikTok.
do it, right?
And so there's different trends from that. I do think talked about AI earlier. Just got back from a conference where the whole conference was talking about AI.
Yeah.
And so, and the changes with that. And everybody loves ChatGPT, and everybody loves the other programs. But people think of that one, but AI is going into so many different areas. And so I will say the one takeaway, because the biggest question that kept on being asked over and over again, well, is AI going to take over? Like, you're going to have to cancel all marketing jobs because of AI? Like, absolutely not. But the marketing people who are not using AI are the ones that aren't going to be long term. You just have to incorporate that and make sure you're utilizing it in the best uses. And I would say the biggest threat to us coming up in a good and bad way is AI, because so much fraud can happen from the AI aspect.
Yeah.
We've already talked about that. How can we look for different ways to thwart fraud through different services? It's very prevalent. Every day, text messages going out, people spoofing emails. It is so prevalent that we're actually doing a fraud campaign as we speak. We'll be launching it. We've already launched it kind of digitally, but we're actually even doing postcards. So we understand this is not a moneymaker for us, obviously.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure
and
our
it
members.
increases trust with your members.
Well, I hope so, because we want them to be taken care of. We want the ones, we don't want them clicking on a link in a text that's going to a fraudulent aspect. We don't want people getting phone calls from leaders that didn't sound like us, but they're saying, "Hey, I need your username and password." We will never ask for your username and password on the phone. We tell our members, and I hope everybody listening here, no matter what institution you're using, if you get a phone call from one and you're not sure, or even if you just want to be careful, say, "You know what, I'll hang up and call you from a number I know, and what's your name? I'll ask for you." We tell our people that all the time. If you're concerned about who you're speaking with, hang up. Don't call this number back. All that maybe because they spoof our number,
Yep.
And they said, just get online, find a number that you know is us, and ask for me. And so we try to do that all the time, making sure people are talking to the right people and not getting scammed because it's very prevalent.
I am a citizen of the internet, and I am probably less prone to being phished or manipulated than most people. And someone hacked one of our customers' emails a couple weeks ago, and they got me, and I tried to log into something that wasn't the right link, and because I was chasing business, and then a couple hours later he's like, "Sorry, we got hacked," and I was like, "Oh no!" So
No.
I had to tell my team that I got phished.
Well, I understand. We have very stringent security. Our IT department, I'd put them up against anyone, but things still happen. And so we're trying to be so proactive. We also reactive. We have, services that we use that if you're traveling, let us know you're traveling or you may get denied until we call you and say, are you in Boston? Are you in Texas? And so, or did you make this last charge? And I think members really appreciate that. Sometimes it can be frustrating, like my card got denied.
Yeah, I'm just trying to buy gas.
I'm just trying, but in some foreign place they weren't not supposed to be, but we didn't know they were. And so it can just happen that way. But we try to be proactive. I do think fraud and marketing against fraud and toward fraud and safety is a huge thing.
Yeah.
And how AI is going to increase that.
Oh yeah, it's going to get way more dangerous here.
You have voice, people can replicate voices and everything else.
It's going to be wild. So other than AI, what do you think the future of marketing looks like? Which I know AI is a big part of it, but I didn't want your answer just to be AI.
Just to be AI. Well, I think we don't know what it's going to be like in 5 years because I think the transition has been so fast. They talked about, the internet took 4 years to hit 100 million people, and the AI has taken 4 months.
Yeah.
One of those types of things. So I don't know what's going to be next because I think it doesn't exist yet, and so I think looking at big picture marketing, I still think it all goes back to knowing it goes back to the basics. Who's your target audience? How do you reach them properly?
Yeah.
And how do you treat them? It goes back to the whole umbrella, back to that see, smell, taste, touch, hear, experience. It goes back to treating your members or treating your customers the way you want to be treated and putting them first. And smart marketing, again, like I said, not marketing a product to them that they've already had or don't market a student loan to an 85-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm not saying an 85-year-old doesn't need a student loan somewhere,
but
that's not, statistically speaking, know your audience. Yeah. And I think people want to be heard and they want to feel, I guess one of the buzzwords that's been around a little while, but we use frequently and we talk about a lot in marketing is the personalization. That marketing is not for the masses anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it is personalized and it's personal. And so it kind of goes back to that connection. I mean, two-way communication is here. People constantly posting stuff to you through email, through chats, through all social media platforms, anything public, so anything's out there. And so we want to make sure that our members are heard and that we're providing the services that they want and that we're growing with them. Because some products we have now might not be needed a couple years from now.
Yeah. So it's not just the marketing, but it's what you're selling.
So don't always hold on to something just because you've always done it. And that's one thing we do say a lot in my department is just because it's always done that way. That's a pet peeve,
Yeah.
And so we're always, like after every event, we sit down and have a continuous improvement meeting. After something else happens, we sit down and go, how could we have done this better? And then that's the first thing we look at when we start working on the next project. So.
All right, one last question.
Okay.
If you had a little change in your pocket. Just kidding. We work with you guys on producing the Pocket Change podcast.
You did a great job.
And that question. And so I was just going to set you up for that one. But
I love it.
Leigh Anne, thank you for taking the time to join us on the Content Machine podcast.
Can I just say on that?
Yeah.
Watch the Pocket Change podcast.
That's right.
That is.
Anything you want to pitch? And then where should they find out more about the Leaders Education Foundation?
Leadersgives.org. And please join. $10.
Yeah. What can we? I mean, that's hard to argue with. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Thank you for listening to the second episode of the Leigh Anne Bentley podcast. If you missed the first one, go back in the feed and check it out. Thank you for checking out the Content Machine, and we hope to catch you on future episodes.